There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
Hard to believe, but it's true. We're almost near the end of our broadcast season with only 2 short weeks left to go. It's been an incredible year. Now, it's also been an incredible year for our good friends over at MSC. What an amazing season of new product, trainings, and just expansion at large. And today, we've got Larry and Chris once again back in the CMA studios to kind of give us a review of what 2022 was all about. This is 12 Volt Insider, presented by SiriusXM. MSC, and it starts now. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to an episode of 12 Volt Insider, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and on this show is where we're going to go behind the scenes. We lift the veil. It's not about necessarily catalogs and specs or anything of that nature, but more of a review of the business at hand. And today we're talking about MSC, MSC America, MSC Canada. They operate on both sides of the border, and they are the exclusive distributor for brands from Audio Tech Fisher, for example, like Brax and Helix and Match, and also with Blam Audio, which is from France, Guy Monville and his speaker lineup. Now, I believe both Chris and Larry are standing by. We're going to connect with them today, and what they want to achieve is simple. They've had a huge year, and we're going to take the time to kind of review some of the game-changing events and products that really made this year a banner one. So let's go ahead and connect with Larry and Chris over at MSC. I believe they're in their Calgary office. Hey, how you doing, guys?
Great, Ben. How are you doing?
I am, well, a little bit sad because, like I mentioned, we're kind of coming towards the end of our broadcast season. I believe we only have 2 short weeks left to go before we kind of pack it up and get a chance to regroup for the next year. But man, what a crazy year it's been for sure. Much more positive, I would say, than where we were maybe a year ago, right? This was much more of a year that we were accustomed to and that we're really happy to have. But make no mistake, I said it before, MSC had a huge year with some big products. Larry, let me start with you. If you had to sum up 2022, how would you best describe it?
Awesome. we had a great year. So many new products, so many good things happening within our dealers. Our dealers are expanding and getting better. We've done tons of trainings already this year. It's nice to see everybody back on the planes and coming to see us. So that was phenomenal. I'll let Chris explain more of the trainings here in a bit. The factories haven't been sleeping, churning out new products. The guys at Audio Tech Fisher, by first quarter of 2023, we got some very cool stuff happening. So it's just been us preparing for what's going on, and then some big things happening too with our systems by MSC. We apologize to all of our dealers for the launch delay on this, but due to us wanting to make sure it's absolutely perfect on delivery and then waiting for some products and some special things, we were delayed on that, but we will be shipping very, very soon, the next 30 to 45 days. And we've expanded our building. We took over the warehouse next door to us, and we've got more production facility over there for systems. So we're rocking on that, and we've got a bunch of cool stuff to show you on that, but not today. That'll be a separate show on its own.
All right, absolutely. We will make time for that for sure. Now, Chris, Larry nailed it on the head. Training is kind of business is back to normal. You're having dealers visit you. attend your classes and your training weekends that we've seen on social media. How has that experience been like?
It's been really awesome to get back to that kind of stuff. I mean, that's always been a big thing for MSC, is getting face to face with dealers and getting them hands on with different products and techniques and all kinds of stuff. Just how much knowledge can we all share amongst ourselves as a group, and whether it's business related, product related, what's going on in the bays. There's everything that goes into being a successful 12 volt retailer in today's landscape. So we want to make sure that we're able to use our proof of concept retail store here, our experiences with the manufacturing side, with the install bay, all of that kind of stuff to help our dealers in any possible way that we can. This year was no exception. Started off with a bang right at MasterTech Expo, getting a bunch of really qualified, really cool guys in-house to get one-on-one and small platform stuff there. But that just leads open to getting into our traditional multi-day sessions that we do here in Calgary, as well as at our office in Phoenix. We're able to get anywhere between 12 and 15 guys together as a group and spend a couple of days together covering off the ABCs all the way down to the XYZs of what we're talking about here. So it's been a really fun year to get back to it, as we've all wanted to do over the last few years.
And I'll be honest, the reviews have been, overwhelming. I mean, we see the reviews, we see the chatter about it on social media. I'll bring up one example. I remember John Schwartz and his crew had flown out from Alaska to come see you guys, and they had nothing but great things to say. They learned so much. They felt like they definitely took a few steps forward from that. And that seems to be something. I mean, I see Arturo on here saying the trainings have been awesome. This is something that we see often. So guys, if you haven't heard about MSC trainings yet, get a hold of them. I mean, this is something that's, it's certainly getting rave reviews. I will say that. I haven't attended one personally, so I can't speak to it personally, but I can see the reviews. How about that?
Well, we're happy to hear that. We had a great time with John and his crew. We took them to their first, many of the crew's first NHL game, and it happened to be Game 7 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So they were, and we won. I'll just hold that in memory because that won't happen again for a very long time. But we won, and just the atmosphere around that, and just to see the excitement and passion for the game, and then putting it all together with us, it was just phenomenal. So it was nice to. So MasterTech, Ben.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that because you're heavily involved with that.
Absolutely. I was going to start with, that was the first thing on my list, MasterTech. You guys came out in a big way. It was the first show. Brian it's his brainchild. He put it all together. Now, as a vendor, obviously, there's somewhat of, you're rolling a dice a little bit, right? There was no precedence. There was no previous show to it. But Brian, you understood the vision. I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, Brian's been a good friend and working associate of mine for quite a few years now. And when he started talking to me about the show, I knew it was going to be a huge success. So as the saying goes, we went all in. Some of you were at the show, but we had a 20 by 20 booth. We had 2 demo cars inside. We had a 30 by 60 or 30 by 90 foot tent outside with 3 Ford trucks. Actually, Pat Lee and the crew from Certified drove all the way down, Pat and Tyler, which I can't thank those guys enough. I keep trying to thank them enough, but it'll never happen. They've been such huge supporters of ours. So we had the 3 trucks outside with 3 different levels of the Systems by MSC system in. We sponsored the concert on the Sunday night opening. And that's going to be a repeat this year, except a lot bigger. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I don't know how many details we're allowed to talk about quite yet, but yeah, there's going to be a big concert. Let's leave it at that.
Yes. Yeah, outdoor in the amphitheater, and we're planning a lot of cool stuff for that. So if you're there, be sure to make it down for the Sunday night. And then if you're an MSC dealer, the Saturday before that event, and you will be getting invites from us, but I'll let it out on the airwaves now. We're going to be doing a special product introduction from Audiotech Fischer. So 4 people are coming in from Germany, including Julian and Florian and their speaker engineer. And we will launch the most important product introduction in Audiotech Fischer's history. They've spent more money on this new product category, and I call it a product category because it's going to kind of separate themselves from everything else. So we are reserving a whole day as an introduction celebration to that product line on the Saturday before the big show. So
I want to encourage our listeners, if you're catching this and maybe you didn't get a chance to catch our previous episode, we actually had both Heinz and Julian join us for a full-out Brax episode within the audiophile sessions. I do encourage you to get to the networks, check that out. Some insight that I don't even know if Larry was ready for them to say, but they were there. They leaked out a couple things, so you might want to check it out.
yeah, it's funny when they tell us, be quiet, and then bam, they let it all out themselves. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's going to be, we're going to release the product and then everything is ready. So it's not a vaporware presentation. It will be, if everything goes off the way it's supposed to be, it'll be the coolest product introduction that I've ever been involved with. So
Very
we're
cool.
excited
Very
for that.
cool. Okay.
So what is your involvement with MasterTech, Ben?
MasterTech is obviously a very, very important event for the industry. We're happy to say that CMA will be there in person. We will be broadcasting from MasterTech as well with our partners, both SiriusXM, Brian and MasterTech, as well as 5-Axis. Our goal there is finally to connect with people in person, which we haven't had the luxury to do until next year. So we're really looking forward to that, but also provide some coverage and insight for those that may not have the opportunity to go, to really entice them so they understand the type of experience that's going on at the show itself. Obviously, towards the end of this show, and I've been talking about it literally for a month and a half, we have a ridiculously cool contest. Anybody who's listening could sign up. We're giving away 2 all-inclusive trips to get you down to MasterTech, all expenses paid, cmanetworks.com/giveaway. Pretty cool stuff. That's what we're doing.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing all of our dealers and especially the Canadian content.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time for sure. And that's in the beginning of February. Awesome. Chris, talk to me a little bit. Yeah, we've had a pretty complete season. We've connected on many different episodes, from audiophile to car audio to DSP. What do we want to achieve in today's kind of undercover look at what's going on at MSC?
Well, we were talking, it's been such a crazy year for these guys, Audio-Tech, Fisher, and Blam. They've really pushed the bounds this year. Most manufacturers were struggling to keep inventory on the shelves and just kind of keep the ball rolling. Meanwhile, both of these guys here weren't just keeping the ball rolling, but they were absolutely hammering it as far forward as humanly possible. They've got so many new products that came out this year in amongst all this chaos that we wanted to make sure that none of that stuff got lost in the mix per se. So we wanted to take a little bit of time and touch on a good chunk of these new products that came out this year, because the list is pretty extensive. I think we've got 15 or so things that we're going to talk about quick here, kind of give everybody an overview for little things they may have missed over the year and carry through to 2023.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, I seem to be in the way, so I will get out of the way. Well, we know we have a product cam we're going to bring up. And of course, if you don't mind, gentlemen, leave me a little bit of time at the end, because I'd like to, ask a question. It's kind of what I've known to do.
We'll definitely do that.
Sounds good. All right, let's set these boys up with their product cam so they can bring in some product here. And I will leave it to Larry and Chris to review the top game-changing products of 2022 with MSC. Here you go.
So as Chris was saying, we've had a lot of new products introduced, and we've covered some of them off on previous episodes that we've done with CMA, but we didn't want anything to get forgotten about or pushed off to the side. So we're going to start with one of the newest ones that just landed in the building. These came in about 2 weeks ago, and that's the new 165 R3 from Blam. So this is in the Relax line and is our 3-way component system. So we have the 6.5-inch woofer, we have the 80 mil mid-range, and then the 20 mil soft dome tweeter. A couple neat things with this. Number one, if we look at the basket of the woofer, if we can hold that up and just flip that around, you'll see that it's a proprietary design from Guy. So everything he's doing is designed in-house, tested in-house. This product is obviously an offshore product, so we can get the price point, but it's using all the same technologies and same ideas that Guy's been using in the Signature and the Multi-X. So this is a super, super efficient 2-ohm loudspeaker set that's designed for factory OEM upgrade or small amplification systems that will still get up and get going in the car. The other cool thing is if you look at the 3 little crossovers in the picture there. We've separated out the crossover. So we've got a separate high pass crossover for the tweeter, a separate high pass crossover for that 80 mil mid range. And then we've got a low pass crossover for the woofer. So if you want to run it fully active, put the crossovers away. If you have a 4-channel amplifier and you want to drive the tweeter and mid range off 2 channels and the woofers off the other 2 channels, you can use the high pass on the tweeter and high pass on the mid range, and let the active crossover handle everything on the woofer, or any mix up of that you want to do. So traditional relax sound, very punchy, very warm, and again, efficient, and puts a smile on everybody's face. So that's the new Relax 165 R3. So that is available now in stock and shipping. So I'll turn it over to Chris, and he can talk about some of the new Match products that are coming out on the electronic side.
So the Match stuff always is super exciting product category because it gives you just a ton of versatility to work with, whether you're integrating into factory audio systems, whether you're going to aftermarket source units, OEM speakers, and modest power applications to big power stuff. And one of the most popular that we've seen this year is going to be in the up series of amplification. So we've seen actually 2 products launch in this category here. The first one that you see on screen there is the Up 8. This is the replacement here for our venerable Up 7 DSP and Up 7 BMW platform. That 7-channel that was there has been taken to the next step, added an extra output channel to it, which is always a useful aspect to bring into a system, more customization, more channel control. But more importantly, we've also got more input channels on these guys as well. So the old Up 7 was only 4 channels. We're now running 6 channels of input on these guys. So again, more versatility when it comes into integrating into these factory audio systems. We can even go one step further on that, is with both of these Up 8 and Up 10 amplifiers that we've got in our input cards. Our Mech Analog input card will actually dock right into this thing and give 2 additional channels of high level inputs into these guys. So now you've got 8 in and 8 out on the Up 8 amplifier, 10 in and 10 out. So when it comes to tying into those systems where we've got to go one-to-one routing, we've got to retain or integrate with factory all pass filters or up mix center channels, or even factory time alignment, we can make sure that we can retain those features. We don't have to worry about getting into summing. We can just pass that signal through, increase the output and the gain of the system, improve the tonality. But these guys also have the ability to go through and correct many of those factory features. So if you've got a car that has those OEM all pass filters in place, now we can actually go through, measure them using the input signal analyzer built into the software, and we can choose to retain or add aftermarket all pass filters to offset those factory ones. So now we can actually go through, effectively remove it from the listening position, and create that one seat, what we call the money seat tune. So depending on what your client is looking for in the project you're trying to build, you've got the best of both worlds available in those guys. A lot of those same technologies, though, carry into our 2 little guys in that Match lineup. The M5.4, which is a little 5-channel amplifier, roughly 3 inches by 4.5 inches, super tiny little guy on this one, but 9-channel DSP built in here. So now you've got the ability to go through and not only make your adjustments to equalization and time alignment on those 5, you've actually got 2 stereo outputs to match up with a second amplifier. In this case, the one we see there, the M2.1 amplifier. This little guy here is 160 by 2 at 4 ohm or 400 by 1 at 2 ohm in the exact same chassis size. This little slave amplifier is designed from the ground up to partner with that M5.4. And holy cow, is this a cool little amplifier. We were talking about MasterTech earlier. The guys at Certified Auto Sound out in Vancouver, BC, built one of the most ridiculous builds of the show without question. Brand new Ford Super Duty with an active 3-way front end, rear speakers, 4 dual voice coil subwoofers, and a 2-way active center. Every voice coil in the car had its own little M2.1 amplifier. It was, I think, what was it, 18
amplifiers,
18
yeah.
M2.1 amplifiers in that thing, and they built this stunning rack behind the seat out of multi-layered acrylic, and they actually channeled out all the wire channels. So when you look down, you fold the seat down and look back at that back wall, every amplifier was floating, and every single perfectly placed wire was lit up and highlighted through there. The guys, Tyler Nolt did the build on that one. Pat obviously provided the truck and the platform for everybody to get creative and build something, and it was just the absolute belle of the ball at that show. And that M2.1 was the heartbeat of the whole thing. So really, really cool stuff there.
Yeah, as Pat Lee would say, it was definitely 2 a.m. base.
2 a.m. might have been 2:30 base on that one. But this match lineup is such a cool platform because, like I said, not only is it easy to add into aftermarket systems, but also on the OEM side of things, the match platform has a whole lineup of different T harnesses to allow us to integrate in and quickly adapt into a lot of these new vehicles. When we're looking at new BMW being one of the most popular platforms, we've got the harnessing to tie into these new RAM-based audio systems where we can't pull the radio or the factory amplifier out. We're stuck integrating post-amp. Well, now with these systems here, we can tee into it. We can get all of our inputs, all of our outputs, simple power connections to the battery that's already in the back of the car. And now you've got the ability to do something really special for a client who wasn't able to get the options he was looking for in the car and far exceed what the premium audio systems could have provided when you're talking about the Hi-Fi platform. But even in the Harman Kardon cars, we've got full integration into those as well. Same thing in a lot of the new Mercedes products too. So all of these cars give us quick, easy solutions for really putting a smile on the client's faces and really taking things to the next level.
And let's not forget, too, you mentioned the RAM systems, but we're fully integrated with the MBUX cars from Mercedes. With our one-to-one channel routing, we can get into the AVB systems and GM. So all those guys with GM trucks with the Bose system or the Camaros or the new Corvettes or whatever you want to do there, our system is fully compatible with that as well. So it really gives you a lot of opportunity to integrate into cars that normally we'd shy away from, including using our digital input. You can use all the digital preamp available from Mobridge and from Nav TV and from Pack Audio, which we distribute all of those brands. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for you. And also lean on us, Chris and I, and the guys in the US, Jason and Nick down in our US office, lean on us to help you design these systems, because it's more difficult, but it's actually easier once you get the hang of this, because with our multiple channel inputs and one-to-one channel routing, it's very easy to make that happen. So keep that in mind as we carry forward.
Yeah, and one of the other really cool things about that we just can't touch on enough is when it's integrating into these cars where those factory amplifiers are in place. All of those products are going to go through and actually allow us to use our input signal analyzer to see what's going on with that factory signal, so we can measure and see frequency response and phase relationships. So even as you're tying into them, you're going to have all of the information available to you to really understand what you need to tackle and be successful in building cars for clients.
Chris, why don't we just dive right into the V12 since we were talking about integrating and stuff? I mean, that's our workhorse.
Yes. Yeah, the V12 is definitely the absolute heavy hitter of the lineup. This is, without question, the most versatile amplifier in the lineup. 12 channels of high-level input, 12 channels of power and output, a 14-channel DSP built into these guys here. So when you're tackling a car, there's really not a whole lot that you can't do with a V12. High voltage inputs on these guys here, going to allow you to get in there. Again, you've got that input signal analyzer available to you. So you can take all 12 channels from your factory system into this amplifier. You can measure the response of all of them. You can see what the phase relationships are. We can look for all pass filters. And then we can make the decision, do we want to retain these factory features and give the client the same kind of OEM experience that he had, just scaled up? Or do we want to create something totally new and completely special for the driver's seat? And do something on that end as well. You've got the versatility to not only do one or the other, you can actually make that decision on the fly as you're getting into the tuning aspects of these guys here. The other really cool things is because of the high channel count, when we're looking at power distribution, we've got 75 watts a channel at 4 ohm, up to 160 watts a channel down at 2 ohm. When we're looking at these guys here, when we are using fully active systems, which is going to be common when we're talking 12 channels of amplification, we're able to distribute the power from that power supply to the channels that need it most. When we've got a set of tweeters in mid-range that might only be using 5 to 10 watts on the high side of things, that leaves power in the gas tank available for the higher power channels like our mid-bass drivers, or more importantly, subwoofers, to really optimize the output. Partner this guy here with a dual 2 ohm subwoofer and use that one channel per voice coil on that woofer, 160 watts a piece. We're over 300 watts RMS on the back end of this guy here, able to really drive some fun subwoofer power.
So you don't have to worry about bridging amplifiers. You can just use a subwoofer that makes sense with the amplifier choice you're making.
If you just sit down and look at the system design, we listen to audio systems, not audio components. When we're looking at designing these audio systems, we can partner this with 2 ohm drivers to optimize power, dual 2 ohm subwoofers to get that 3 to 350 watts of power out on the back end, and really do some cool stuff. I mean, that V12 would give you the ability to run your 2A active front end, rear speakers, center, and still have enough power to run 2 dual voice coil 10s with north of 600 watts on the back end. So that one amplifier that easily tucks underneath the seats or on the back wall of the pickup truck or even in the dash in some vehicles. Now you've got a system that can really drive big power and a phenomenal listening experience without taking up a ton of space or having to worry about how are we going to integrate in or where is it going to physically fit in the car. You can really do some cool stuff there.
Yeah, that one chassis is 1,000 watts of power. So that's, as Chris was explaining, that's our power sharing mode. So it's 75 by 12. But if you're running a full active system, there's no way those little tweeters are going to require 75 watts. So the power supply is reactive and will channel the power to the channels that need it. So no matter how you want to slice and dice that, it's 1,000 watt amplifier divided by 12 channels. So it's very, very cool design.
The other thing we haven't touched on here yet is we've talked a lot about getting these things into the car and how to communicate with the vehicle itself and what we're going to do with the audio signals. But what about the output side? All of these pieces that we've talked about, the Match line and the Helix line, have the same DSP technology built in across the board. The same experience you'd expect all the way up to our Brax DSP, where we've got 30 bands of equalization per channel. We've got time alignment, we've got crossovers, but we also have the magic of PC Tool 5, our software that actually drives this system. Now we can go through and we can use the automated EQ processes where you can use either a pre-programmed target curve or customize your own and have the system target each channel in parametric equalization to get you to the end results you're looking for in just a couple of clicks. These aren't processes that require a degree in engineering or a whole bunch of experience in a studio. These are systems that if you can follow through a process of click here, click here, click here, this software does a phenomenal job of simplifying, but still extracting extremely good results out of an equalization side of things. But equalization isn't the only thing required. We also need to make sure that we've got phase and time sorted out. So the system also has the ability to go through and using a gated impulse response, calibrate your time alignment measurements for all channels for you. Same thing, it's a process that happens in just a handful of seconds. But when we're talking about trying to get 12 channels of amplification plus a subwoofer output aligned quickly in the car when there's not necessarily a direct line of sight for a lot of speakers, we've got, rear door speakers that are down low in behind you, no direct line. You've got D-pillar speakers at the very back of the SUV that are going around 2 sets of headrests before they get to you. Taking physical measurements becomes a challenge, not just physically doing it, but trying to find what that sound wave is going to do through the course of the vehicle. Our impulse response now allows to actually measure what's going on with it and have the system set your delays instantaneously. So you've got some really cool processes to not only allow you to get in and make educated decisions about the system design, but now you can go one step further and actually take this and optimize the outputs in a quick and efficient setting as well.
We're running this product cam here. I just wanted to take a quick moment because it's people that make our company go around. Davis, why don't you stick your noggin up in here? This is Davis for all of our dealers. He's the guy who makes sure we get all of our product out to you. And he's a technical guy and he's just a all-around great dude. And he's Vanna White today. He's product cam guy. So yeah, hand for him. Congratulations. So that's Davis. So speaking, since we're on that course on DSP, why don't we cover the DSP Pro Mark III?
Well, that was one of the most exciting products that we were able to get this year. Something that has really put people on edge for quite a few years now. Since Pro Mark II went away, DSP Ultra kind of stepped in and really scaled things up, opening up more performance, much higher quality analog to digital and digital to analog converters, higher voltage inputs on those guys, more channels, virtual channels, all of the FX tab, our ACO features, all of that kind of stuff was added into the mix. But not everybody was requiring an 8 in 12 output DSP. Well, what Pro Mark III allowed us to do was take all of those same capabilities, all of those same features, and put it in a slightly scaled down package. We're using the same AKM converters on those guys. We're using still our 3 chipset DSP on these guys to optimize performance. We've still got Toslink input as well as digital coax input, plus our high levels and low levels available. We've also got our Bluetooth and USB high-res direct inputs available on these guys. So you've got something that is really designed from an audiophile standpoint to give incredible performance, the same sound signature and the same performance that you would expect in the DSP Ultra, albeit in a slightly scaled down package to help give a little bit more access to more of our end use consumers out there to really build something special out of these guys. So Pro Mark III has been a really, really cool addition that a lot of people have been waiting on, and we finally got our hands on again this year.
From the DSP cowboy himself. So I'll take over and we'll go into the signature product from Blam with Mr. Guy Bonneville. So one of the biggest introductions for us this year, literally, was the new Multi-X 8 woofer mid-bass design from Guy. This driver is using a carbon cone, as you see there, but it's the back side of the driver that is where the magic happens. That's our new, well, not new, we're using it in many different areas. You can see the multiple Neo magnets there. Chris covered this off very well in the previous episode last week. Go back and dig into that to get the exact scoop on the Multi-X technology. But all I can tell you is at the proof of concept retail store here, we just finished a Ferrari 812 GTS with this. And the client really wanted a subwoofer. And we did some testing with our test enclosure in the trunk of the 812, and we just could not get that subwoofer to couple into the listening environment of the car. So we put these 812s in, and it was crazy. We delivered it to the client, and he goes, that sounds like a 12 in there. I guess I don't need a subwoofer. So huge power handling with that extended voice coil, which the multi-Neo array allows us, and high efficiency. So it doesn't take a lot of power, but will handle a lot of power. The woofer is just an incredible piece of product. So Chris Davis just had to run out for a sec. Maybe you can take over the product cam stuff. And adding into the Multi-X line is the new Multi-X 2-inch. So this joins, there's a good shot, the relative difference in size between the 8 and 2. So that's the Multi-X 2. That joins the Multi-X 3 in the mid-range category and still uses that really unique Multi-X design for ultimate control of the driver and a true phase plug in the middle. And that's a wideband driver. So if you get that baby on axis, you don't really need to use a tweeter with it, and being only 50 mil, it's pretty easy to place. And that is joined with the Signature 2. So Signature, we have Signature and Signature Multi-X. So we will release the Signature 2-inch very soon. And then one of my favorite little products to launch in this category is the new TS20 MG. So we've wanted to have magnesium dome performance out of, like we do with our 25 mil tweeters in this category, but wanted something that we can fit in behind factory OEM grills and such. So this is really important to us because as we're interacting with clients every day as well, like you guys are, people aren't wanting to see a bunch of stuff. They don't want a trunk full of gear. They don't want speakers put all over the place. So using the pure magnesium dome of the TS20, we have audiophile performance as we would on our 25 mil in a very pretty, I call it man jewelry or car audio jewelry. I don't want to segregate that only to men because there's lots of women that enjoy this type of high-end audio, but you got to put this in your hand and feel it. It's just such an amazing performance. So the Multi-X line is really gained in strength, and there's also an 8-inch subwoofer in the Signature line, to go along with the 8-inch mid bass. So a lot of new toys there for us all to ponder and figure out ways to use that. And on our multi-channel amplifiers, building a nice 3-way system in the front, 2-way system back with subwoofer, all active is a very, very easy thing to do. So I'm going to continue going in now to the Helix speaker line. And this is a product category that is going to really change in the next little while, hint, hint, for the March show. And this is the first of a new product range from Helix, and this is called Pure. So I'll just hold up this box here. So that's the Helix Pure Series, Pure F Series speaker. And this features our all new box design. So all of the Helix product will move to this new new packaging design, which is just gorgeous, talks about all the features down the side. And you'll see this musician guy here, that will change from a drummer to a bass player to whatever that product is designed to do the best. So very unique packaging, and everything inside this box for the F-Series speakers. We'll just get that on our product cam now. The F-Series speakers is a redo of the F-Series that we've had in the line for a long, long time. But this has been totally redesigned. Super, super nice, especially the tweeter. If we show the tweeter, that comes with a great amount of mounting options. That grill is magnetic, so it pops off. And that's the flush mount kit. And inside the box is a little tool that you put inside the tweeter and give it a twist. And that pulls the tweeter out of the flush mount kit. And then you can put it in the angle cup or the factory mounting, or take the tweeter out completely and mount that into the factory mount that you would find in the car you're working on. Again, separate crossover for the tweeter in the mid-range. So if the car has had a 2-way system but passive design before, you don't have to worry about home running any wires. You just run the crossover for the tweeter in line, crossover for the woofer in line, and away you go. And those are available in all sizes, 4, 5, 6, and either in component or coax design. Davis will show us the coaxial style. So coax is still very flat, so it'll fit in behind the grill of the car. The grill, the tweeter grill, will pull off, which makes it completely flat. So very easy to fit into anything that you need to fit into. These will be in stock roughly the end of this month, so end of November, early December, and pricing will be released very, very shortly. So I'll turn that over now, and Chris can cover off the last product line we have. Actually, I got to do the Brax GL2.
You got to do the
Sorry.
GL2.
Yeah. This is my favorite little toy that's been introduced. It's the new Brax GL2. And if you flip that baby around, so this is in the Matrix line from Brax. Graphic. Yes, I was thinking we've got the ML50 coming out in the Matrix line as well this year. So we'll have 2 different Brax 2-inch wideband drivers, but just beautiful. The stainless steel ring mount, everything just like the rest of the Brax speakers have. And if you hit MasterTech in March, you'll get to hear the set with some MX4s and maybe a Brax DSP.
You can't give away all the secrets today.
All right, I'll stop. But just be a MasterTech in March. We want to show you this stuff. So I'll turn it over to Chris, and he can explain the S series from Helix, which has really become a go-to speaker for many dealers. Super performance in its price range.
Yeah, this is a really surprising kit for a lot of guys. Really modest in terms of its price point. It is not even remotely close to being modest in terms of the performance you get out of this thing. This is one of my favorite products that Audio-Tech Fisher builds for all of the cool electronics and DSP and all the amazing stuff that they do. This speaker in particular for me is an absolute home run. It's so much fun to listen to. It is so natural sounding. If you've got a client who is looking for that traditional home audio hi-fi kind of a sound, this is as good as it gets in a normal human kind of a price range.
Yeah, this is one step up from the F series that I just showed you.
Yep. So this kind of sits right smack in the middle of the lineup. Nice, beautiful efficiency out of these guys here. 4-ohm driver, so it partners up with any amplifier in the lineup. These guys are available both as a two-way system, which we've got Davis pulling up here, tweeter 6-inch, tweeter 4-inch with passive crossovers, but also available as an a la carte platform. So you can get just the tweeter, just the 3, just the 4, just the 6 as individual pairs. So you can totally tailor the exact system design that you want out of it. But Davis has got the tweeter there. That's one thing I want to zoom in on a little bit here if we can. Just the little details that you're going to go through the stuff on this guy here, this grill, magnetic grill in here, beautifully cut, just artwork in a price point that has absolutely no right looking as good as this kit does. And you just gotta, if you haven't had a chance to play with these guys yet, as good as they look, they sound even better all the way through. There's also a coaxial portion of this lineup here in the 6-inch and 4-inch as well, so you can do that front and rear match throughout the car. Like I said, 3-inch available on those guys, so if you're custom building a 3-way system or you're looking for a center channel replacement, this S-Series does a phenomenal job. Even the crossover designs that come in the S62 C.2 and the S42 C.2 kits, just beautifully designed, nicely laid out, has that really nice touchy-feely side in addition to the audio performance that we look for out of these kinds of kits as well.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand too, in the F and the S series, those are our stamp basket products. We will have 2 ranges above that yet that will go into our cast basket products. People that will take care of those people that like the touchy-feely of the cast basket as well. Just keeping everything in line and price point, it's important to understand that we have now 4 different steps, or will have 4 different steps of price point to take us to stamp baskets and 2 cast baskets. And then come March, you'll see a bunch of other crazy stuff from us on the speaker side that'll change the way a lot of people think about loudspeaker design. And that tweeter, I can't say enough about that tweeter, Chris, because the grill design is really cool, but that flush mount piece that you're seeing, that's a full aluminum piece. It's not plastic. So when you're mounting that, it's a good solid mount. And again, that tweeter you can completely take apart just to get to the tweeter magnet assembly and dome itself. So it's going to be a pretty good idea. So I think that's
got us covered off for the bullet points of some of the cool new stuff from 2022. A huge range of everything from modest and entry-level products all the way up to flagship products have been attacked by both of these companies, Blam out of France and Audiotech Fischer and all of their categories out of Germany. So it's been a lot of fun to watch this never-ending string of stuff roll out through the last year. And as Larry's touched a little bit here, 2023 is showing no signs of being any different from these guys.
Yeah, and a couple guys had asked the specs on the Blam 2-inch and specs on some other drivers. Obviously, we'd love to spend the time doing that, but we're limited in time on the show. But if you, on all the Helix and BRAC stuff, if you go to audiotech-fisher.com, there's full spec sheets on there, as well as blamaudio.com to get all the information on the Blam stuff. So Ben, if you want to join us.
All right. Well done, gentlemen. Thank you for the show and tell today. You know what it does? It reminds me of how many great shows that we've covered this year on all these products a little bit more in detail. I want to remind our listeners, obviously, Larry and Chris have just kind of done a brief overview of some of these. But if you go back onto CMA Networks, I encourage you to go to the playlist section and click on MSC. If you go there on CMA Networks and you click on playlist MSC, you'll see all the videos that we've done. And then you can go ahead and select which ones that you really want to dig into or get more information on. I think that would be my best recommendation. Now, 2 things. There's 2 that I want to comment on that really excite me. And they still excite me even though we've already talked about them. The first are the small mini amplifiers. Now, you mentioned Pat Lee built like a 1 amp per coil system, which I think is absolutely insane. But the reality is this is like bread and butter stuff that stores could be churning out like every single day. They're solution-based products. And I want to applaud on that specific lineup of product from Match because, you know, you said it, Larry, space is at a premium these days, right? Man, how much smaller do you want it? Let's be honest. I mean, those things, they're just so tiny. And if I remember correctly, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, The base model there in that series, you don't even need to run a power and ground wire to. Can you just kind of refresh my memory on that one?
Yeah, so the M5.4 is designed as a T-harness type installation into these things. Well, in that T-harness, they actually include power connections. So when you go through and tee in behind the radio, and a lot of these new cars, we see 15 to 20 amps available up there. So this little guy, when you're using that harness power input, current limits itself, but still generates 35 watts by 4 and 160 by 1 on a subwoofer channel, being fed from the harness that's plugged in behind the radio. So you're not required to go to the battery. Even in my truck, I really wanted to see how that worked and what really happens if I try and run an amplifier and a subwoofer off of my radio power. And the system's been in there for, it's been in there for almost 2 years now. The M5.4 running off the radio. It's a 15 amp circuit in the truck. Currently, I'm using a little plug and play match 8-inch subwoofer underneath the back seat. So little 8-inch vented woofer, 160 watts. I'm running 30 watts a piece to all the speakers in there. And it's insanely good. It is louder than the factory system. And then it's given me all of the DSP capabilities as well. So I've got great tonality, time alignment, phase alignments all the way through. I mean, the system's just shockingly good. And with the T in behind the radio, run the harness down, mount the amplifier. I think it was like 3 hours worth of work to physically get the system into the truck. And it has no right to sound anywhere near as good as it does.
Well, the footprint, the flexibility, the fact that there are T harnesses available for many applications makes it a key winner for integration solution for anybody walking into the shop. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's 100%. Now,
and those harnesses, Ben, that we talk about, the T harnesses, they can be used on any of our amplifiers. So they have the system plug on it for the complete match line. But if you wanted to get into any of the other T harnesses and hook it up to a V8 or P6 or P6. We didn't talk about that. P6 Ultimate.
It's funny because that was my next point. I said, what happened with the P6 Ultimate?
What happened with it is we got a bunch of them showing up here at the end of the month. So those of you who have them on order, they're going to be here. So that is the pinnacle of design on our P6 platform. So it's a shame they called it a P6 still, because there is 0 components inside that amplifier that are shared between the new P6 Ultimate and the old P6 Mark II. So you need to understand that. It's a slight bit more money than the old P6, but with the DSP tricks in there and the parts and things, I just can't say enough about it.
They've taken all of the things that made the P6 great from a power standpoint and scaled it up. Another 6 or 7 years of development time and technological advancements and efficiencies that were gained in there. We've gained about 10% or so more power out of it. But then they went ahead and basically jammed a DSP Ultra in it. That 6-channel amp has a 12-channel DSP. It's using all of the flagship components along the way, and it has all of the flagship technologies like our virtual channels and our real center and our bass processing and this thing has the entire suite of everything that you could be looking for in an Audio-Tech Fisher product jammed into one of the most efficient and advanced amplifier chassis along the way. You've got one box that is going to check every feature that you're looking for out of this thing. There's just nothing like it.
And it has 6 channels of preamp output as well. So 2 channels of those by way of Toslink digital out, and then 4 RCAs. And we're happy to say that the P6 DSP Ultimate, when it comes in, will be accompanied by the P1 Mark II. So it'll be the first release of the P1 Mark II. So that's our big badass monoblock, 1500 watts in 1 ohm. It's crazy. So you can take the P6 P2, which is 250 watts by 2, and the P1 and at 1500 watts, and you've got a unbelievable 9-channel amplifier in the chassis size combined into what some other amplifiers are just for that single chassis. So huge power.
2 more items here I want to touch on. Now, you were talking about the V12, which arguably is one of the most flexible and Swiss Army knives of amplifiers on the planet. But I'm going to argue with you that the V8 deserves a little bit of knuckle crunching here because the V8 fits into a lot of places with almost identical specs and as well as performance from a DSP standpoint. So I just wanted to give the V8 a little bit of love. I didn't want to be outshined by its older sibling.
Well, we had to make sure because the V12 Mark II was brand new for this year. So that's the guy who got the focus today. The V8 Mark II came out last year, but is built from the exact same technologies at the same level of performance, just a little scaled down little brother. Those same 8 channels are still able to drive woofers and power sharing technology, the same DSP technology. It's all there. So for guys who don't need to get into 12 channels of amplification, the V8 is, like you said, it's an absolutely killer option and actually ends up being about 15 to 20% smaller than the V12 does. So fits in more spots, lets you tuck things away and still do some really, really special stuff in the audio system.
That's all. Just wanted to make sure the little brother got a little bit of love there. It just felt like an older brother was getting a little bit of spotlight there. Now, Larry, do you have that box that you just very sneakily showed for like?
Yes.
Because I've never seen that box. So this box here represents which line exactly, and where does this fit in the Helix line of speakers?
So this will be on the entry side of the Helix speaker system.
Okay, so this is the entry point. So I would imagine all different types of OEM type of shapes, sizes, right?
Yes.
Coaxial
4, 5,
configurations.
6. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. And that's the new packaging. That's what you were trying to highlight there. Is
Yeah,
it a
so
new speaker or is it just packaging?
New speaker. It's
Okay.
so this show you here. So you see this Pure logo.
Mhm.
So our traditional speaker line in Helix is going to be called Pure.
Got
And
it.
under Pure, we have F, which is our entry level. Then we have S, which is what Chris talked about. Those are our stamp basket products. And then we will have 2 new products that replace the existing P and the existing C. So
Okay.
those will be out the very beginning of the year as well. So we'll have 4 series.
But that's not what
in
you're
the
referring
Pure
to
line.
about the big game-changing announcement.
No, that's so
This
we've
is,
got
okay,
the
this is
Pure.
what I want to clarify. I'm trying to understand. So what you're talking about, they are replacing a couple more on the entry side series of speakers from Helix.
Yes.
But what you were referring to about the whatever this big news is about game-changing speaker stuff,
Yes.
that's not this. This is something else.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the Pure logo is our traditional loudspeaker, which will be 4 different price points of product. And then in March at MasterTech, we'll introduce a complete line of speakers that are completely different than anything we've ever had before.
I'm gonna stop. I'm just gonna wait. I'm not gonna keep going down that path. All right. Listen, thanks guys for showing everything. I want to, let's wrap this up. This is our last transmission with you guys for this year, anyhow. What are you looking for? Well, let's look at it 2 different ways. I'll ask you both the same question. Just looking back on 2022, a couple of things, maybe people you want to acknowledge, and looking ahead for 2023.
Yeah. So first off, I don't want to forget about a huge important product category for us, and that's custom installed radar. The guys at Escort have been super supportive of us this year. They have some things in their mind that they're thinking about in terms of product, and the Banana Brothers, we love to call them, from Stinger. We continue to be amazed at the performance of that built-in system. But this show, we wanted to kind of keep to new stuff that has been introduced this year. But I don't want to forget those guys, and I don't want to forget to have our dealers understand the importance of that category for keeping a business healthy and profitable, and keeping your customers happy, because when you don't get speeding tickets, you're happy.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody speeds. So it's a huge category for us at the retail store, and we can help you develop that category as well. So I didn't want to leave without kudos to those guys. So thanks to Brady at Escort and the Banana Brothers for being great supporters of us this year. They've been on the show. They've helped us out this year. So we wanted to spread the love there as well. So as far as shout outs are concerned, I want to just say thank you to all of our dealers. We've had a tremendous 2022. Your support and your belief in our culture and the things that we do, and going up to the sign back there, sneak down, different, better together, make us accountable for that. And you have, and we will continue to do all the things that are different. We're going to do it better than everybody, and we're going to do it together with our dealers. And I can't wrap it up any better than that, unless Chris wants to add something into that.
No, I got nothing. I mean, without our dealer partners, we're just a couple of guys here hanging out in our MSC team. It's grown quite a bit this year. We've had quite a few new additions of guys who believe in what we've been doing to this point and are throwing themselves full body into trying to contribute to their part to that side of things as well. So the MSC team from top to bottom has been phenomenal yet again this year. The dealer partners, again, without those guys, none of this stuff really matters. So the people who believe in exactly that different, better together side of things, the ones who have chosen to get on board with that with us, we've had a lot of fun, and we can't wait to see what 2023 is going to bring for everybody involved. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. I'm going to hold Larry accountable for something as we move forward to 2023.
Oh,
If Chris doesn't have a Stetson marked DSP on it for 2023, I'm going to have an issue with you. I'm just saying.
2023 is bringing lots of interesting stuff, man.
Like,
It's going to get wild.
Like, go get a measurement, text it to Larry, make him accountable. All right, Chris?
maybe we should get him a horse to ride into at Master
Okay,
Tech
the
Expo
horse
as
would
well.
be, over the top, and I would be appreciative. But let's start with the cowboy hat. I think it deserves that much. If you guys agree, post
Can
in
you
the
ride a
comments below.
horse?
I can ride.
You can ride a horse?
ride.
All right.
He's a
then
cowboy, of course. Larry, of course he can ride a
he's
horse.
DSP cowboy.
Exactly,
not
which
a
makes
cow
that's
cowboy.
a level up. That's a level up. Or as my kids would say, that's pog. Whatever that means. I'm not even sure what it means.
Is
But
that,
that's what
is
they
that
say.
the new word?
Yeah, something like that. Anyhow, guys, on that note, I want to thank both you and Chris and the entire MSC team, everybody else who's come on in the past, from installers all the way to your US team. I mean, it's always a pleasure working with you guys, and really excited for 2023 to see what other new products, and new whatever else you have up your sleeve, because you're so super secretive. But I will do my job. I promise you guys, I will do my job to keep it on them. So we'll get you the best news.
So last thing to you and Frank and the rest of the CMA Networks team, 3 years ago or whatever it was, 2 years ago, you guys rolled the dice on this whole network idea that you had. And I got to admit, I was like, what are they doing? But I thank you for that. It's given us a platform to get to all of our partners and beyond our partners, including all of the international people in the Audio Tech Fisher and Blam and Stinger.
Shout out to the international audience as well. I forget about that all the time, but yes, shout out to you guys.
There's a couple on this show right now, I know. So yes, we're just responsible for North America, but your platform has given our factories the ability to talk to their people as well. So kudos to you and Frank for an amazing idea, having I can't say the word I want to say, but just the gumption to make it happen. How's that? That's the best one I could pull out of my head.
Well, Larry, we appreciate that, of course, because, we too like to do it different. We like to do it better. And we certainly like doing it together with you guys.
Cool.
Well,
all right.
Cheers to the back end too. Your team behind you guys. I know you, Ben, you in particular, are the face of this whole thing, but I know you, as well as the rest of us, know how important the rest of the team is. Sheldon and Marcella back there doing their magic.
It's a machine, and we all work towards the same goal. We appreciate that for sure. All right. On that note, guys, we wish you the best. It was a great year broadcasting with you, and we certainly look forward to, we'll definitely be connecting on several occasions, but certainly look forward to seeing what's going on at MasterTech for sure next spring.
We'll see you soon.
Good. Take
care, Chris and Larry. All right, there you have it, guys. A little sneak peek and a wrap-up of the 2022 season in the eyes of a team at MSC. Thanks for you guys for tuning in, and that was a nice refresher course on everything that was covered and all the new product that came out. And again, I do suggest, if you want more information, go into the archive, cmanetworks.com. Check out the MSC playlist. Every video is there for you guys to go back, log on, and view again to make sure you don't miss any of the important details. All right. Some information we need to get out here for you guys. We talked about Brax, we talked about Helix, we talked about Match, Audio Tech Fisher at large. To find out more information, all those products, you want to check out their website. It's audiotechfisher.de, audiotech-fisher.de. That is where you're going to find all the information with regards to all the Audio Tech Fisher products. And then if you're looking for Blam, well, hold on, let's see. Do I have the information here? Yes, we do. All right, so audiotechfisher.de, that is where everything Audio for Tech Fisher. So again, Brax, Match, as well as Helix. That's the website to go to there. Now, for the Blam speakers from France, you want to go to their website, and it is blam-audio.com. All right. And last but not least, if you're looking for connecting to become a dealer, get a hold of the team at MSC. You can reach out to them at msc-america.com. And that is where you get a hold of, doesn't matter if you're in Canada or the US, msc-america.com. They will connect you to the right people. All right. Now, I want to remind you real quick. Two big announcements. The first one is the fact that we are still on the audio file track this month. A couple more spotlights to go. Different brands tune in every day at noon for the audio file sessions. One high-end brand, one day at a time, only on CMA Networks. Now, if you haven't heard about this one, we've been talking about MasterTech all show long. We have an amazing contest to give away 2 all-inclusive trips at MasterTech Expo, one for a Canadian winner and one for an American winner. Head over to cmanetworks.com/giveaway to sign up. Only 2 more weeks before we draw the 2 winners. And while you're on there, of course, like I mentioned, check out our website, cmanetworks.com. Regardless of the brand you're looking for, or the trainer for that matter, it's where the 12-volt industry connects. That's it for this CMA 12-volt Insider, all about MSC, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
I mean, yeah, let's talk about
Stop it.
Today we're gonna go
Yo,
topics.
roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?